It's a vital ingredient in most movies, the music playing in the background. David Pogue sits down with someone who really knows the score, award-winning composer Nicholas Britell.
When you watch a TV series on a streaming service, you can click Skip Intro to bypass the opening credits. But if you do that on HBO's Succession, you'll miss one of the best parts, the theme music. It's like classical with a hip-hop beat. Would you play the famous 4 chords from Succession?
I absolutely could.
Composer Nicholas Britell won an Emmy for his Succession score.
You're marrying a man fathoms beneath you because you don't want to risk being betrayed.
The show is about a deeply damaged family of billionaires, so Britell wanted the theme to sound a little bit off.
You know, the pianos are attuned to each other, the strings are a little bit off. This should feel kind of like something's a little wrong.
3 of Britell's movie scores have earned Oscar nominations: Moonlight, If Beale Street Could Talk, and Don't Look Up. But all of his scores begin the same way, in the same room as the director.
It's like a rule. It's like you have to be here. It's obviously technologically possible for me to write all this music and email it over, but I lose something in that process. We don't know what we want a lot of the time, you know, and we don't know until I play it up against the picture.
A TV or film composer's blank canvas is something like this, a version with no music at all.
Jerry. He's not well. You can help us, right? You can help us stop him?
Well, I'm focused on whatever outcome best serves the financial interests of the shareholders of the company. But it doesn't serve my interests. How does it serve my interests?
This is one of these sort of philosophical questions. There are lots of places in a show where you don't put music, you know? And so the first question is kind of like, do you put music in a certain place? Do you? Then it's a question of what are we trying to say? What is that feeling?
Jerry. He's not well. You can help us, right? You can help us stop him?
Well, I'm focused on whatever outcome best serves the financial interests of the shareholders of the company. But it doesn't serve my interests.
So hopefully there's a feeling of perhaps it's dread, perhaps it's sadness, perhaps it's perhaps it's the knowledge of loss, incoming loss, you know?
Right. So let's say I'm the director sitting on the green couch.
Sure, yeah.
And I say, no, Nick. Improvise me something that is angrier.
That would be something like this.
Jerry. He's not well. You can help us,
So
right?
that kind of thing. That feels like we're pushing you.
Too much?
Too much, yeah, because you know what, like, I like those chords, obviously. I'm cool with those, but I think there's something to me that feels like we're like forced into this kind of set of feelings.
Manipulative.
Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want that.
Movie music has been in Britell's life from the moment he heard the music for Chariots of Fire at 5 years old.
We had this very old upright piano in our apartment, and the first note is just the repeated note, and I figured it out, and I asked my mom for piano lessons. So I guess for me, in some ways, you know, film and music and the piano were always spiritually kind of linked together somehow.
But his first real employer wasn't in Hollywood. It was on Wall Street.
I was trading currencies. It ended up getting to a place for me that I wasn't happy, you know, and I wasn't doing what I love. And so I quit my old job and just took that chance of like, hey, I want to do music full time.
Britell began working steadily with 2 rising directors, Barry Jenkins and Adam McKay. There's a very Disney arc here, like, you know, guy rejected Wall Street to follow his dreams, and now he's rich and famous and fulfilled. But it might not necessarily have turned out that way. I mean,
oh, absolutely.
Music is hard.
It's really hard. I think the process of figuring out what is the music for a film, it's not obvious at all.
Britell's wife, Caitlin, supported his career switch. She's a professional cellist who plays on most of his recordings, including on the score for this year's She Said.
You know, sometimes people say, oh, you know, you're both musicians, how does that work?
I mean, I can see where that would get That could get tricky.
She's very picky about exactly the tuning of things, intonation and things. And so we'll have very, very good conversations, I would say, about how it should sound. I think she wins those conversations pretty often.
Is there a Nicholas Britell sound?
To be honest, I try to go out of my way, project to project, to not do what I've done recently, because I actually think it's so important that every project has its own sound.
But there is a signature Britell trick. He buries sort of academic Easter eggs in his music. For example, in the tennis movie Battle of the Sexes, he used an out-of-tune upright piano to represent Bobby Riggs, and a Steinway grand piano for Billie Jean King. And for the new Star Wars series Andor on Disney+, Britell wrote a different variation of the main theme for each of the 12 episodes, based on what's happening in the plot.
But this is of episode 2, actually. That's the sound of the opening of episode 2. And then in episode 9, you hear this. Same theme, totally different arrangement.
Do you really think any audience member is going to notice this stuff?
I think whether you consciously notice things is actually not my hope, you know? And it's working on an emotional level.
These days, Britell's plate is full and getting fuller. But landing more work is not his objective.
If there was a goal, it's to perhaps do fewer things and be able to really savor those things. You know, it'd be nice to just, have a glass of wine and be like, that was really cool,